you can't make an appointment for it.
You called the hospital and inquired.
To make an appointment.
It's not funny. It's really not funny. Is that funny?
I'm not looking at it.
Okay, but you're
So
laughing.
I'd appreciate if you got it out of my face.
Taylor Parker is laughing as Regan Hancock's shocking crime scene photos sit in front of her. And I've led countless suspect interviews, but this reaction left me cold. Today I'm taking you through Taylor Parker's police interview, the lies and contradictions, and the fresh courtroom evidence that Netflix left out. Stay to the end to see Taylor Parker challenge detectives to answer the question. I'm Caroline Mitchell, former police detective and crime thriller author, and today I'm analysing the newly released footage of Taylor Parker's police interview. And if you haven't already, check out my other 2 videos for more details on this case. So let's get into it.
Did you ever turn Reagan's phone off?
I never touched her phone.
Just checking. I'm going to ask these questions. Did you delete anything off her phone?
No, I never touched her phone.
Did you?
But she did take Reagan's phone, at least that's what we believe, and we believe that she disposed of it later on. So Homer started receiving strange texts from Reagan's phone that morning, and it didn't sound like her at all. He tried calling Reagan, but she never answered, and then he became even more worried when Reagan didn't get to work and Kinley didn't arrive at daycare.
Did you delete anything off of your phone?
No.
All right. Do you have any social media accounts with a false name?
No.
Liar.
You sure? You don't have any made up social media accounts?
No, I don't have any social media made up accounts. I got my Taylor Morton for my Facebook. I got my Instagram that's Tay Way Casey.
You know we do have your phone, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we're gonna be able to find, if there's anything that's made up or real, right? You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm asking you one more time. Do you have any made up accounts?
No,
She's
I have no
thinking
made
now.
up social media accounts.
What about any applications on your phone used for, instead of calling someone by your phone number, you actually call someone by a made up phone number?
She knows that they already have this information. There are some very, very long pauses during this interview. This interview goes on for hours now. I've cut it down to the most interesting parts. So let's watch her reaction here.
You know I know something, right? That's why, hey, a lot of times when I ask you questions, I know the answer. So, have you used the text-free app or any other type of app lately that created a number for you?
Yeah, within the last week.
What was that about?
Buying hogs.
So selling the hogs across state lines?
Yes.
You know I know more, right?
Well, why don't you tell me?
I don't need to. I want you to tell me.
No, just tell me.
You wanted to tell him.
Now, I found this so interesting. You can see she goes through so many different almost personalities during this conversation. She actually gets flirty with the investigating officer. She's smiling and she's flirting. But do you see when the other officer speaks to her, she just gives him daggers looks. It's like, we're having a moment here. Why are you interrupting this? That's my take on it. And the officers play this very well. It's almost like good cop and bad cop. And pre-interview, as officers, we don't plan that. We don't say, you'll be the good cop and I'll be the bad cop. We just know that other officers' personality and we work together well. When I was interviewing, there was always officers that I loved working with, and I'm hoping vice versa. We worked together well. There was officers that used to completely hog the limelight, and I'd be like, okay, you'd have the lead officer and you'd have the other person watching, but there was a balance when we were training to learn. Actually, you got to let both officers speak and speak to their strengths. But I did find this very interesting. If you rewind and watch that interaction there, and then you see the moment he speaks and the way she looks at him, it's so interesting what's going on in interview here.
Hey, I know more. All right.
And she's laughing. She's actually laughing.
You don't have a baby, okay? Tell me more about made up phone numbers and making phone calls.
not made any phone calls.
The week prior?
No.
She's stalling now.
The week prior.
Week.
You had an event that you were supposed to make, but you didn't make it.
One day.
You mean, you look like you want to tell me something, so that's...
Because I want you to tell me. That's why.
Tell you what?
I want you to admit to something that you did prior to this murder.
I didn't do
To
it.
avoid going to get induced. What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Taylor, listen. Those apps, a lot of people think you can't track them.
You can.
They 100%.
You know how we find an email address?
You look it up.
No. It's so much easier when you just spit things out.
What happened Monday morning?
We had a fire at the house.
Tell us about that.
We had a fire at the house. It woke us up at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we know about the fire. I won't dwell on it too long. She's
Okay.
believed to have lit the fire.
What
so-
happened then?
We got up. We put the fire out.
Mm-hmm. And then what?
Once it was out, we laid back down. I got up once to go check to see if it had sparked back up. It didn't, but we were both in the bed.
Okay.
My dad called me that morning.
Mm-hmm. And?
He was asking to see how I was doing. He told me.
And what did you do?
I didn't start that fire.
What did you do after the fire?
Now, true crime detectives, did you catch that? Because I did. Now, Wade maintained during his online chats that he wasn't aware of Taylor Parker's pregnancy because they didn't sleep together most of the time. He said that she used to get real mad and sleep on they used to sleep separately. And so he never discovered her bump. But according to her, she says again and again and again that they were sleeping basically side by side in the bed. I don't know if I believe her though, because she was busy making calls to the hospital, and we'll go through that in a moment. So let me know in the comments, who do you believe? Were they sleeping together or not?
After you went back to bed allegedly, what did you do?
I didn't do anything. We went back to bed. Ask him. I was laying right
I
beside
don't need to
him.
ask him, okay? You know I know the answer. You missed something. You couldn't make something that you were supposed to go do. And there's a specific reason why.
We went to sleep and we slept through. We were supposed to go to the hospital at 5.
Yeah, what happened?
We slept through.
What happened to prevent you from going to the hospital though?
They had a bomb threat.
How did they have a bomb threat?
What's her reaction here?
You can admit.
I'm not admitting to anything I didn't
listen,
do.
Please, you can admit to taking a scalpel. Okay, remember, you can admit to that.
Yes, I will admit to something that I
You
did
can
do.
admit to that, but you can't admit to this bomb threat?
No!
Then why is it linked back to you?
I
Are you
don't
telling
know.
me-
I did not.
Did Wade call in a bomb threat?
I would hope to God not.
Well,
We were both in the
does
bed.
Wade ever use your phone?
He has,
Does
yeah.
he ever use your phone though?
I mean, he has. He's gotten on my phone, yeah.
Okay. Did he use your phone that day?
I don't think so. We were both in the bed with each other. Both our phones were in the bed.
Did he use the phone? Your phone that day?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Did you use the phone that day? That morning?
No, I didn't use the phone that
On a
morning.
made up number.
No.
You call the hospital.
No!
Alright, well, you do know there's been an investigation on the bomb threat, right?
What's
I
this?
knew that because my dad called me that morning and told me.
It's linked back to you. You know that, right?
Oh, goddamn. I did not do that.
Okay, well.
I will admit to something that I did do.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you, the evidence is there. It's linked back to you, and I'm.
This is her. Oh, I shouldn't laugh, but this is her what the F moment. Yeah, she's been rumbled. She's been rumbled. It actually made me laugh, this part of the interview, because I love seeing people get caught out in their lies.
I'm trying to understand why you did it that day.
I didn't.
When you want to talk about it, you let me know. I understand. You're not wanting to go to the hospital to induce labor for a baby that you have.
House fire that morning.
But you got a baby. You don't have a baby. You have an appointment to have a baby removed from you that day.
We did not. It was supposed to go to the doctor. It was not going to have a baby taken out.
I thought we talked about it the other day that you had an appointment to get induced that day, but you couldn't go because your house caught on fire and it was a bomb threat.
It wasn't to be induced. It was supposed to just go to the doctor.
Did you call the hospital at all?
No, I did not call the hospital.
Not for the bomb threat, but did you call them at all for anything else? Yes or no? Did you call the hospital for anything else other than the bomb threat?
I did not call.
I'm not saying you did. I'm not talking about the bomb threat. Did you call them for anything else?
Yeah, watch her reaction here, because she knows. And the thing is, there's so many of these gaps. It takes her a whole minute.
About saying who was on call.
That I've cut out.
But I did not call in a bomb threat. I will say that now. I will say that tomorrow. I will say it 20 years down the road.
Yes, and here's some of the calls. Here's some of the timelines. So from 3:11 to 3:30, there were 5 calls she made to the hospital. At 3:45, a brief call was made from Wade's phone. At 4:28 to 5:36, Taylor watches YouTube videos about C-section, specifically at 35 weeks. And at 5:36, Taylor leaves the house. And at 6:46, her first contact with Reagan is via a Google app number.
So we'll be able to check the hospital records and they're going to have that number.
Yes, I called from that number.
At what time did you call?
It was probably, it was around 3 something.
3 a.m.?
Maybe. Yes. It was after we had done all the
Fire stuff?
Yeah, fire. I was going to play it off like I was saying who was on call. Because we weren't going to be going in. I didn't know anything about the threat, okay? Okay? I did not know anything about the threat.
Okay.
I just find her reaction so odd, given what she is there for. She, at one stage she's constantly like laughing and smiling at this one officer. She doesn't like the other one so much, but she thinks she's got a connection with this one, and her kind of flirty behavior. She it's not that long since she did that horrible, awful thing, but I'm yet to see an actual real tear come down her face. She is just like trying to wriggle her way out of it in the best way she can.
Well, I'm not making it up.
Well, I'm just telling you. Just.
Okay. You can tell me that all you want.
Oh my God.
But I'm not making it up. Okay.
Okay.
In fact, I'm not making any of this shit up. Alright? So
But I don't remember doing
you can't talk about it. And I'm not making up the fact that your email is linked to the phone that called the bomb threat in. I'm not making that shit up.
My email?
Yeah, what is your email?
I have 2.
Alright. Well, the Gmail account is tied to the bomb threat.
Oh dear.
So
Right.
I guess I should have told you what your email was because I already knew it.
Nice one.
Because when the investigator called me about it, he said the email is too. I'm like, Taylor Parker.
Yes, yes, that's my email.
Yeah.
Reagan's phone was never found. Neither were Taylor's sandals, and there's possibly other weapons that were used. There's definitely evidence of something having washed in the sink at some point in the hall on the way out. According to Wade, she tossed the phone and clothes over the river bridge because, or wherever she disposed of them, because they never found her clothes or the phones or Reagan's phone. That's from Wade himself.
Can I call my mom?
Yeah, we'll get you the phone calls in a minute. Give us a few minutes. You need anything right now? Alright, we'll step out. Give me just a few minutes and
Are they gonna feed me dinner?
we're gonna make sure they have dinner for you, okay?
So Regan's asked for dinner, and there's a very, very long gap. And I wonder if it was strategic to leave her on her own for so long, or if they were just catching up with the latest details of the case. But I found her behaviour very interesting. She's thinking strategically herself. She's thinking she's being watched. She touches that board, I think that is, on the wall. I think she's trying to see if there's a camera behind that, or if it's like one of those two-way mirrors. We didn't have them in the police station where I interviewed. We did not. It was not like on the TV. They were very boring rooms, but we did have cameras, obviously, in the corners of the room that people could watch. But I think she's checking that out, because during that time, then long time, I've cut so much out of this interview because it goes on for hours, just long gaps, where she keeps touching her face and she's acting like she has a headache.
Can you see if they can get my medicine? Because I've been without my medicine for...
What medicine is that?
I take butophonol for my migraines. And then I have a Stadol spray. It's 2.5 milligrams. And I've been without it since I lost my insurance. So it's been about 5 to 6 weeks.
They had so many tests on her, multiple tests during her time in custody, including, as you say, CAT scans, brain MRIs, ultrasounds, all normal results. She was tested for factor V Leiden disorder many times, and every test came back negative, despite her saying, this is my diagnosis, this is what I have. Physical therapists who evaluated her said that she was deliberately walking unsteadily and exaggerating her symptoms.
I was going to have a baby, but Reagan was going to call him and we were going to just say that I had lost it. That way I didn't have to.
That's new, saying Reagan had volunteered to call. That's, new information there.
I was going to tell him I lost it.
Or being late, or have contractions. How could you just, hey, let's plan on doing this. This is on Wednesday, but Friday, let's go to the hospital because I'm going to be having contractions?
No, she said you could just show up. They wouldn't turn anybody away. That's why we picked
But you
out.
show up and you're not actually, if you were pregnant, you weren't actually in labor, what would they do?
They would take you to the floor and check you.
But, so what was you going to do then?
I was going to have them send me away and tell Wade that I had lost the baby.
You were going to have who do that?
The hospital. Regardless, I worked in OB.
Now, she said that she worked in OB, but then she's known to lie. Now, the CEO of Jennison Prime Care testified that she worked for them in 2018 and was terminated. She was let go during her 90-day probationary period. And the reason given was things stopped adding up, and specifically that she was attempting to obtain opioids from a pharmacist under false pretenses. What was she up to then? Who knows? She was claiming that she was a nurse practitioner, which she was not. After that, she was hired for a front desk position at a place called Express, which was another healthcare facility. On her job application for that position, which is quite shocking really, under her greatest accomplishments, she wrote, getting blood from hard stick, anxious patients and being with patients in OB who have lost a child. It's quite chilling, isn't it?
So,
And you just weren't going to talk to Wade again? And you think the doctors were going to go out there and lie on your behalf like that?
it's confidentiality. I've seen plenty of doctors lie for patients.
So you worked in OB before?
But he's the daddy.
It's not
It
confidential.
doesn't matter. That's That's a HIPAA violation.
He's the father, though.
It doesn't matter. If a patient comes into a hospital,
And he said he lost the baby, that's his baby. He's got to have some information.
they will not give it.
Okay, they won't give the information. What was your plan after that? You're going to go in there, tell him I'm not pregnant, I've been lying to my boyfriend. Can y'all go out there and tell him that I lost the baby, and where were you going to go?
I was going to leave and go home. I wasn't
With
even going to have
Wade.
him. No, I wasn't even going to have him meet me there.
Now, a lot of people wonder at this part of the interrogation, why doesn't Taylor have a lawyer? Why didn't she ask for one? Because Taylor didn't completely shut down the interview and say, I'm not saying another word until I get a lawyer. The police were legally allowed to keep the conversation going, and every single word that she said was fair game for the prosecution afterwards. And it's so much harder in the UK. We operate what's called a duty solicitor scheme, which makes sure that the independent defence lawyers are on call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, specifically to attend police station. I have dealt with so many of them. And if this was happening in the UK and she was in a room like this, she would be offered a solicitor. And if she said, I want a solicitor now, well, the interview, it would have looked completely different. Under UK law, the minute a suspect asks for a solicitor, the police are legally required to stop questioning, stop everything, and call in the 24-hour duty solicitor to the station. They're even reminded of it as they're booked in through the custody process and asked there and then before the interview if they want one present. So the interview cannot go ahead until that legal advice is provided. But in the US, if you ask for a lawyer, the police don't have to go out and get you one straight away. And they're meant to stop asking questions, but the problem is if the suspect keeps talking, it's kind of free game. They're giving up their rights, and everything they say can be used against them. It's so interesting to see these contrasts in UK and US law.
So I don't understand how y'all got into a fight, y'all got over it, fixing her hair, doing all this. She hit her head on her car, busted it on the concrete. She was bleeding, but then she went in there to fix her hair?
Oh, that was after.
Exactly. And then she was murdered. So y'all got into a fight, y'all made up, fixed her hair, did all that, and you murdered her? Is that what you're saying? Reagan, Taylor, you haven't been being truthful with us. There was a 3-year-old girl in the house that watched this. This family wants answers. And it's time for you to be truthful about what happened.
And she gave many accounts to her inmates and lovers. She was in relationships with many people just to use them. There's so much about the prison, what went on in the prison. I could make a separate video on that, so let me know, because it is fascinating what she did. She was so manipulative, and they said that she was so believable because she was trying to get them to change the evidence and set up other people for the crime. So she said she gave them specific details about the layout of Reagan's home, the sequence of events, the location of the knife, and the extraction of the baby. These details could have only been known by someone who was present and conscious throughout. Now, what I mean about conscious, I mean that we're not buying, I don't remember. She knew exactly what was going on. And there was a lot of truth intertwined. And I saw time and time again where she mentioned things like the cutlery drawer. She remembered the sound of the cutlery drawer. And she was saying it was Reagan who had that. No, it was her. It was her who went for the cutlery drawer by the sounds of it. So there was a lot of truth amongst the lies. And this is how they tell the lies so well. It almost becomes real in their own minds.
In the cooking, she was folding Kenzie's clothes. She said that she had overslept. We walked back into the house. We were standing there in the hallway in the bathroom. That's when she had turned her straightener on. She was texting Homer and talking. She had said that I wasn't going to be going. I told her I needed to leave. She said, you're not going anywhere. We walked out to the car and got my bags. We walked up the little driveway into the garage. The garage door was open. She was putting something else in the dryer. And I told her, I said, I need to go. I don't need to be here right now. And that's when we started the argument and the fighting.
Why did you not need to be there right now? What's that about?
Because I wasn't right in my head.
She literally said she went to her home. So why go to her home and then go, oh, I don't need to be here? It's so bizarre how she thinks people are going to believe her. Now, jail trustee Shanaray Yeager testified that Taylor Parker admitted going back to her car to retrieve the scalpel that she'd brought with her because the knife that she most likely took from the drawer in Regan's home wasn't working. And I'm sorry, I do try to cut the worst of the information from these, but this is a particularly horrible case and it's hard to leave out too many details, but I'm not going to show you any pictures or anything like that. Now, Yeager also claimed that Taylor said when she took the baby, she placed it against her mum's cheek and said, tell mama bye. Who knows if that's true or not, but then said she drove to the hospital. According to Yeager, she then said she pulled over because the baby stopped breathing. And she didn't mention the fact that it was the police that stopped her on the road. And by the way, if you find this interesting, I have so many more videos to come. Please don't forget to subscribe. Otherwise, my channel just won't show up to you. It's totally free. It won't cost you a thing. And if you'd like more in-depth information, join my membership today. It's less than the price of a fancy coffee once a month, and you will see so much more.
Your intent was what?
Wanting a baby.
Huh?
Wanting a baby.
Your intent was wanting her baby. Right?
You made sure that the hospital would take you in Iberville. You got Wade out of town. Wade was gone out of town. You made sure Reagan was at home by talking to her that morning. You went and sat in the church parking lot and contemplated if this was the right thing to do or not. You decided to go over there to her house, and when you got there, you had a scalpel in your purse. No normal person carries a scalpel around with them. Your intent was wanting a baby.
Did she want a baby though, or did she want a possession, something that would gain her the attention she wanted, or to prove everyone wrong when her lies all came to the head? Because on the stand, the divorce attorney Eric Marks testified that Taylor Parker, who was called Taylor Casey then, came to the divorce hearing without an attorney and confirmed on record that she had absolutely no objections to her husband or ex-husband Tommy Casey taking full custody of their 4-year-old son. 4, I mean, that's like a baby. Mark said that he found that really odd, and even the judge found it odd too. And he also said that the judge would not be inclined to grant full custody to one parent unless there was a really good reason to do so. And she was in a hurry to get the divorce finalised in March 2018 because she wanted to get married again to Hunter Parker by the end of that month. Taylor and Tommy had been separated since the previous July, so not all that long to meet someone new and get married again and get rid of your son. Taylor went to marry Hunter Parker 11 days after the divorce was finalised.
When you went to the house and intended on leaving with that child, were you not?
No, I didn't intend on leaving with
That's
him.
what you just said. Your intent was wanting a baby.
I wanted a baby. I've been wanting a baby for months.
Then why would you kill her and take her? Huh?
I didn't want to.
But why did you do it? Why did you kill her?
There's no actual tears here. Am I wrong? Can you see tears? I don't see any tissues or tears, but now here's a strong challenge.
Why did you kill her? And take her baby.
That's the crime scene photos. Even in the blood, all you can see is red.
I don't
It's,
want to see them. Please. Please. who
no,
cares?
it doesn't want to see him.
Look at me. You can't erase this.
Trust me, I
Right?
know it's in my head.
Her 3-year-old daughter witnessed this. She can't erase that. She has to see it. Why
Her
can't-
mother walked into this house. Jessica walks into this house and sees this. Okay?
The 3-year-old had to walk by that to get out of the house that you left there with her mother dead in the floor. How would you feel if your kids had to live with that memory?
Look at something. Look here. I need to show you something because I need an answer.
No, I don't want to look, please.
Explain this cut right here on her face. Explain it.
That was done with a scalpel. That was determined by a doctor.
Explain it. That's only one of many cuts. Please explain it for me.
I don't remember. I don't want to look at it,
Okay.
please.
There is a knife, a scalpel in her neck.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Explain it.
I don't.
You were there. You did it. Why did you do it?
The other officer actually went to the autopsy. He was in the room.
Please explain.
Can you please get them off me? Please.
Are you going to explain it?
I don't remember. Just slicing and dicing are okay. I don't remember that part. I told you what I remember.
You went there to take her baby. Did you not?
No.
You didn't? Then how the hell did this happen? If you didn't go there to take her baby.
You made arrangements to take that baby to the hospital prior to doing it. You were headed to the hospital you made the arrangements at.
No, I made arrangements to go to a hospital and for them to see that I was not pregnant. That's what I made arrangements for.
But that's not what happened, and you were going to that same hospital. Tell me why you didn't take that baby to St. Michael's and why you were adamant to the state trooper and the paramedics to not take your baby to a hospital in Texas, not to take it to St. Michael's or Titus Regional. Why were you so adamant to get out of state?
Because I've gone to St. Michael's and Titus.
It doesn't matter. There was a baby laying in your arms lifeless. You were 20 minutes from St. Michael's. You were an hour from Idabel. And you felt like you could not go to St. Michael's or you would be caught.
Saying you were medical history.
You lied to the state trooper. You had every opportunity to tell him that this lady was laying in that house with that done to her, and you didn't do it. Why?
Now, they do push on this. Actually, from what I've seen and heard online, correct me if I'm wrong, but she had passed, definitely passed by the time Regan left that house. I think they're drawing her out to try for her to then say, no, actually, she was dead when I left. She had so many injuries. By the time she'd received the last injuries, she just wasn't bleeding anymore because it was too late. So there were things post-mortem. It's hard to talk about it because it's really horrible, but we believe she had passed by then. There wasn't anything that anyone could have done for her at that point. But I think, obviously, they know all of this. They know more than we do about it. But I think they're trying to get her to say, they're trying to draw her out here.
What's wrong with me?
Because why?
Something's wrong with you.
And what's wrong with you? Why did you go to that house that morning to take that baby?
When did you decide to target this woman?
I didn't target Reagan. Reagan started talking to me.
Okay. When did you decide that she had what you needed?
After we had he fought. I told you what my plan was, but y'all can paint whatever picture you want.
Now, she's trying to blame Reagan. It's just horrendous. I mean, how she thought she was going to get away with this. This is what, even if she didn't care about the awful things that she did, how on earth did she think she was going to get away with it? Mind boggles. But in a genuine mutual fight, which is saying, this is what she's saying happened. There's 98 wounds to the victim. The other person in that case would have a lot more wounds. Taylor's hands, her arms, her body showed no defensive wounds. I think the only wounds she got was when she hurt herself holding the knife. There was no bruising consistent to being hit, no injuries consistent to a prolonged physical struggle. Self-inflicted wounds, they have a very specific pattern because she's saying that Reagan did it to herself. This is crazy. If you did it to yourself, they would be located on different areas in the body than they were with Reagan. Her wounds did not fit the profile. I don't know how she really thought she was going to get away with this and why she continues to lie.
You can't tell me this woman said, take my baby and leave and expect me to believe that.
I swear to God she did. I'd take a polygraph test.
Oh my God.
Is that what you're telling me, Taylor?
Oh, please, go to the bathroom.
Can you answer that question real quick? Because I only got one more question. And then we're done. Answer the question.
Is that a yes or a no? Is that what you're telling me? You realize after you got the baby and you left, that's what you just said, you get to tell Wade and prove all these people wrong that you had this baby girl that was alive for 10 months.
Y'all are gonna paint it how y'all want to see it. Okay.
There's no other way to
It's your
paint
story. You tell us.
I know it's painted right here. I know it's painted right there.
I didn't think about that one thing until I was at the hospital. I was thinking about the baby the entire time.
Why did you lie to the trooper on the side of the road? This lady could still have been alive. You said she was alive and talking to you when you left the house. You had just left. Why did you not tell that state trooper? Because you had guilt.
Why did you tell the trooper the baby was yours?
Why did you go tell a doctor at the hospital the baby was yours? Why did you have maternity photos taken a few weeks ago? Why did you have a gender reveal? Why did you have a baby registry at Target? Why did you have a nursery set up in your house ready for this baby to come home?
Because I intended on losing it. Is what I intended.
Why did we get this far in this lie? Why did this go this far?
You shouldn't have.
But why did it? Nobody knows that but you. And I promise you there's millions of people out there that want to know that answer. Why were you walking around for several days on oxygen?
Because I had gone to the doctor because my D timer was high. I've had a pulmonary embolism.
Okay, so you
So
put
do
on
your research and see what my health
You
is
put it on
doing.
Facebook that it was for the baby and you had home health coming to take care of you. Not that it was for a pulmonary embolism. You put it that it was complications for a baby that didn't exist.
Right? Right?
I hope she gets really gnarly with the detectives. You do your research. It's like, what? Hang on a minute. Of all the lies you've just told.
Right?
Somebody had asked me about an update on the baby, so I had added the baby in there. It was for me. I've been seeing Dr. Hayes and Hazen, an oncologist and a cardiologist for my heart.
I think the reason she's not telling them is because she knows she'll get the death penalty. So she's trying to come up with an excuse. It must be terrifying. But again, why commit the crime knowing you live in a state where they have the death penalty? Now, the laughter was an odd thing. And watch this challenge. I just find her reaction so strange, given the seriousness of this case.
I didn't write arranged you can't make an appointment for it.
You called the hospital and
have to
inquired.
be a patient to make an appointment.
It's not funny. It's really not funny. Is that funny?
I'm not looking at it.
Okay, but you're
So
laughing.
I appreciate if you got it out of my face.
You took a scalpel. Why did you take a scalpel with you?
I always have a scalpel and a nylon thread suture. We've always had that. Wade carries it around in the truck. Does it mean he's going to chop somebody up?
No, that's
Please
in his
answer that question.
That's in his truck. He didn't take it in a house with a murder scene. He didn't take it in a house where it was shoved down somebody's neck. Answer that question.
Good man, good response.
One more thing. You're going to see, not today, but one day, you're going to see Reagan's mother. You're going to see Homer. If you could see them right now, what would you tell them?
I'm sorry for what I did.
Are you?
Yes.
And why?
I've never hurt anybody, okay?
And why are you?
Ever.
Why are you sorry?
Because Ray was such a good person, I should
What
It
would you?
should have never happened. I should have never lied.
That's true. My question was, what would you do different?
Never lied.
You just answered it. Did Reagan need help?
I should have helped her.
Did she need help?
Beyond what you could provide.
Yes or no? Did Reagan need help? Yes or no?
Please be done.
We're done. But did Reagan need
Please
help?
be
Yes or no?
done.
Did she need help, Taylor? Are you a monster?
Should have helped her.
You should have helped her. But did she need help beyond what you could help her with? Okay? What about the baby? Did the baby need help? Then you couldn't provide it. But could you provide help with that baby? The help that she needed to survive.
No, I couldn't help. Couldn't do it myself.
But why didn't you call 911 from the house? From Reagan's house?
I don't know.
Because you needed to leave?
You needed to get the Ida bill to fulfill your year-long lie and fantasy of having Wade's baby girl. That's what you needed.
I wish I would have never lied.
I just want to know one thing. How did you ever think that this plan was going to work out without you getting caught? How did you think this was ever going to work?
I never planned on doing this.
At the point that it happened,
I knew
and-
I was gonna be caught.
and you said you told me you got to prove everybody wrong. You had this baby girl that you wanted to have and lied about having. When you were driving to the hospital not getting that baby medical attention, how did you think this was ever going to work out?
Was it?
Then why did you think it was? Why did you do what you did? That's what we want to know. Why you did what you did.
I don't know why I did it. I don't.
I don't have anything else.
Alright, I'm done. It's 5:40. We are done.
Do I have to wait?
We go to the restroom, so after that, and after the fingerprint, we probably got to put that on you. Go ahead and grab your mask.
Can I go with this?
Bring that with you?
Yes.
Yep.
So what did you think of this case? Let me know in the comments. At the end of the day, the officers, I think, did a great job of interviewing her. They had so much against her anyway. They had so much evidence. If you're interested in more in-depth cases, join my membership. It's very cheap and there's a lot more on offer there. Or subscribe for free and you'll be shown more. And check out the other videos that I have on this case. I'll see you in the next one. So take care and bye-bye for now.